Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the RedOUT Podcast.
So like a lot of you, I get those annoying phone calls, the Medicaid. But the real wake-up call for me was when I ordered 2 computers from Amazon. But I didn't order 2 computers from Amazon, you say. Oh, somebody else did. Yeah, that was a close call for me. I realized that my personal information was out there, and I was vulnerable. But how are so many people able to get a hold of my information? One reason might be irresponsible companies. For example, AT&T revealed that over 73 million customer records, both former and existing, were exposed on the dark web. They recommended those affected use strong passwords, monitor account activity, and consider credit freezes or fraud alerts from credit bureaus. That's a lot of work for us to do because one company couldn't keep their data safe. This is why I use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura does all of this for me, and best of all, it's all in one app. If my info was compromised in the AT&T data breach, I wouldn't worry because Aura would already be protecting me. Don't sacrifice your privacy because it's a chore to keep up with it. Aura makes it easy. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping my information safe. I value my privacy, and so should you. You guys should check out Aura. You can go to aura.com/RedOut, or that link is in the description below to start your free trial. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to that Hilltopper action.
Welcome into another RedOUT Podcast. Devin and Matt here. Thank you to our sponsor, Aura, for sponsoring the episode. Jump right in real quick. We're going to start talking women's sports, and then we'll hop over to the men's side of sports. Matt, do you want to talk a little volleyball, start us off with?
Yeah, I'll go volleyball first. Women's volleyball. So Lady Tops have continued their winning ways. They had really tough schedule in the very beginning of the year. If y'all recall, they had a bunch of Power 5, Power 4, whatever they are now, teams. And they've been competitive in every match, but they do have 6 losses. So just keep that in mind as you hear that they do have 6 losses. But they continue to win in Conference USA. Haven't had tons of challenges. They had a few. They went to 5 sets with UTEP a couple weeks ago now. They did sweep New Mexico State this last a week and a half ago, and then they swept Sam Houston on this last Friday and Saturday. They do have Liberty this coming Thursday and Friday in EA Dill Arena, so make sure you show up and support the Lady Tops for the final time this year. And then they do head to the Conference USA tournament November 22nd to 24th. So it's really getting down to the wire for women's volleyball. Make sure you do support them. This is your last chance in Dill Arena. And Liberty is a quality enough opponent that hopefully we get out there and support the Lady Tops and get a couple sweeps and head into the conference tournament. A little note on women's volleyball. Their RPI didn't look the last little bit, but I know it was like 90 before the last couple of weekends. So they're definitely not going to be an at-large team. So it is something to note that they must win the Conference USA tournament to get in the tournament, and they probably will not be one of the top 32 teams in the bracket this year. Not really close to getting votes in the polls. So a little bit different of a year. But they're still going to be a dangerous team if they get into the tournament, but they will not get into the tournament if they don't win Conference USA.
Which I think that they would, wouldn't they? I mean, I guess we're kind of getting used to volleyball getting in, but
yeah, I mean they've won, God, I don't know, 80 Conference USA regular season matches in a row. That's not even exaggerating. It's like 80 or something, 85. I forget what the number is, but it's ludicrous. They did lose a conference championship game to Rice a couple years ago, but Rice is now out of the conference, so really the only threat is UTEP, who, by the way, hosts the tournament. So it's something to note that they do have the home court advantage. You're traveling way over there. And if you end up facing them, you could have trouble just by being on the road in a championship game. Then there are a couple other teams that could certainly give them a few headaches. But yeah, of course they should win. But if they happen to not, they're going to be sitting at home in November and December for the first time in a long time.
I just did a quick Google search. Last November, they had won 17 of a possible 20 Conference USA championships, including 8 of 10 tournament titles. So basically 20 years. This will be the first time in 20 years they went. And if they lose, which all good vibes, I'm sure they're going to do fine. So,
well, that includes regular season and conference, just those 10 years. But yeah, it's 20 years worth of championships, so to speak. And that you have regular season and conference, 20 different championship opportunities.
It's still crazy.
Their dominance. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they've done amazing. So I guess obviously in women's volleyball, the successful season is NCAA.
Well, and really, I mean, it's definitely going to be successful if you make the NCAA, especially this year with a difficult schedule and some new pieces. But really, I guess the standard is win a game once you get there.
Yeah.
So it'll probably, I guess, feel like a disappointment to them if they don't. Problem is with the RPI and whatever that they have, the numbers and everything, they're probably going to face a seed in the first round, or at least they're going to face a good top 25 caliber team-ish.
So
they'll face a top 32 team for sure in the first round. And then the next round, if they make it past that, they would face another top 25-ish team. So they have a really tough road to make any kind of run, but they're good enough. They just faced that really tough schedule that kind of knocked them down and didn't give them a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a tough schedule. Definitely would hope that the AD or whoever's doing scheduling over there is going to redo that next year, because you do need hard games, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if they need necessarily a gauntlet to knock us down in standings. I mean, that's just my opinion, but
yeah, I mean, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't in some ways. Like, if you don't have a tough schedule, then you win undefeated, but you don't get a top 15 ranking at the end of the year anyway.
Yeah.
If they happen to win a few of those games, they would absolutely be ranked or close to it. They just didn't. It's just one of those things. I mean, they were really close in several of them. Marquette, Tennessee, Michigan State was fairly close, and UK was also close. I mean, they didn't get swept in any of their matches. But they lost to Dayton in 3. But they were tired. They had played another match earlier that day, and they were really shorthanded. So anyway, I mean, they've been competitive. It's just luck of the draw. I wouldn't say, ask whatever difficult schedule you have next year. You got to play somebody.
Yeah, I mean, you do. I'm not saying you don't. And being a mid-major school, you definitely want to schedule the bigger guys, but
it's not like they went on the road to do it. They played at Diddle.
For
several of those.
And it is a catch-22. So, if you win, it's great. If you lose, it hurts your RPI or VPI. I don't know. What are they doing in volleyball? VBI.
They still use the RPI.
But it still hurts you either way. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, just a quick soccer update. We neglected to mention it last week, but it's noteworthy. Western Soccer did end their season. They had a kind of a down year, losing record and everything. There were a few bright spots. Maddie Davis, the goalkeeper, was Conference USA Goalkeeper of the Year. She gave up 0.667 goals against average in league play, which was tied for the best in the league. I mean, it's kind of difficult to do much better than that. And then also Kendall Wade was named to All CUSA third team, and Abby Wiederman was all freshman. So they had some good players. They just didn't kind of put it together to have a decent season. But we did want to shout out the individuals that had some all conference type of honors. So good on them, and hopefully they bounce back next year and we move on from a losing season.
Yeah, I mean, it's always up from here, right? You just got to keep going up.
Positive
Learn from
vibes.
learn from your mistakes and just keep working yourself. Working the team over in the off season, and I mean, like you said, it's still great. We had a goalkeeper that did as well as she did, keeping everybody from scoring. There's a joke there, but I'm not going to make it. But anyway,
Yeah. The record was kind of rough. I mean, 3, 8, and 5. That's really not what you would set out to do. And it just stinks for them. I hate it. Because you had some good players on the team, but just didn't put anything together.
Yeah. And I mean,
bad.
But they'll have a little more experience next year and be able to, maybe hopefully get some stuff coming together, and Coach Nidell will be able to do, some good stuff next year. So, I guess in the spring, they have spring soccer too, don't they? Or is it just in the fall?
Well, they'll have some stuff going on, but nothing serious. There's no championship in the spring or anything.
Well, it's good to get some practice in, I guess. So that's what I'm going with. So I guess we'll jump into a little bit more of the meat of it is women's basketball. The Lady Tops ended up playing. Sorry, they're going to play them. Hold on. Sorry, they played Kent State, the Kentucky State Thoroughbreds, and ended up winning. It's a pretty close game. It was 104 to 49. It's pretty close. Western, I mean, it's what they were supposed to do. Go ahead.
FIU played. It was their women. Would be shocked if you saw this, but it's okay if you didn't. It was FIU. It's actually the battle of the Florida Nationals. It was Florida International versus Florida National, and they beat them like 132 to like 25.
Oh my gosh!
It was like they beat them by over 100.
That's crazy, dude. That is crazy, though.
Brutal scoreline against Kentucky State as well, but they took care of business, and they've Lady Tops have been, I think they've had some kind of slow starts. Even like at Lee University, they only won by 22, which you probably want to win by more than that against an inferior opponent. But they kind of were stagnant for a while and struggled to figure it out, but then got rolling. Kind of same thing as against Indiana State, but a double-digit road win against a team you should beat. I'll take that. And then they came home to Kentucky State and absolutely took care of business. Again, with a bit of a slow start, but it was more only like 2 or 3 minutes of the doldrums instead of taking a quarter to settle in. So hopefully they exercise some of those demons. I mean, it is one thing to note with Kentucky State, the Lady Topper size is so much more significant this year that against those smaller teams, they're going to be able to dominate down low as long as their big players can produce any kind of offense. So I think they have an interesting formula this year. And the question's going to be, can they score? Because they have a lot of big bodies and some good looking players, but hoping to see them kind of pull it together and strategically make sense and take the next step.
So I was curious. So I had to pull up the Florida International versus Florida National Conquistadors, just in case you're wondering.
Okay.
FIU shot 56%, pretty standard for college basketball, right? 42.9% 3-point They had 14 turnovers and 66 rebounds, which the 66 is a little high, but for a normal women's college basketball game. Florida National Conquistadors. They shot 17.3%. Essentially one or two out of 10 they hit. Free throw or 3-pointers, 21.4. So round that down to 20. So that's 2 out of 10 again.
They shot well from behind the arc.
They shot a lot better from behind the arc than just in general.
I'm just saying.
31 turnovers, and they had 17 rebounds. So, this is what I picture.
66 to 17 rebounds. Is that what I just heard?
Yes, 66 rebounds from FIU, 17 from the Conquistadors. I am so going to have to buy some Conquistador merch. This is so great. But yeah, this game this looks like when I play 132 to 25.
Okay, so I had it right. Okay.
At the end of the first quarter, it was 28-4. It's like, okay. The second, this is what's crazy to me. The second quarter, Florida Conquistador scored 9, and International scored. The Panthers scored 32. Wow. So that is what? Let's see. So you're 60 to 13 at the half, and then we got. They only scored 3 points in the third quarter.
Oh no!
Florida International scored 41 points.
Devin, do you feel guilty reading this off yet? I mean,
oh God, no, dude. This is like them playing a little league team. I mean, it's pitiful. I'm picturing like the Monstars from Space Jam is what I'm picturing. Like they're just like, the guy that the basketball player that passed away this past about a month ago or so. He did the Geico commercial. Not in my house. That's what I'm picturing. And Florida International is just like spanking it. But anyway, sorry. Yes, that is very thrilling to me to read that because it's just so funny. But yeah, I mean,
one guilty bone in your body.
Not at all. I feel no sympathy for them. Y'all, it's like I didn't sign up for this, but you got to take it anyway.
Yes.
and actually, Abilene Christian actually beat FIU last week. 4 days ago, as we record this on the 12th, they beat them 76 to 73. So it's not that bad. Considering they had 132 points scored the week before, they're probably tired from running back and forth on the court. But I think Abilene Christian and Western's ladies are going to be. I think it'll be a pretty good game. I think it's going to be on ESPN Plus on the 21st. So we've got a little bit of a week and 2 days, so we can talk a little bit more about that game as we get closer to it. The game that they're going to be playing. Actually tonight at 7 p.m. as we record this is against Mercer, but we're not going to talk about it. We'll talk about the recap afterward because it's kind of hard to get podcast episodes in before basketball games sometimes. So do you want to go ahead and talk about Abilene Christian and our chances, or what do you think? Or how do you want to do it, buddy?
Sure, man. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those just one of those non-conference games on the schedule. It's nothing, thrilling or something that, oh my gosh, we're, wow, we're playing Abilene Christian, but it's a good measuring stick type of game. It's a road test. They're 2-1 so far. By the time that we play them, they'll have played North Texas and Texas Tech, so they'll be much more battle tested. They're 2-1 right now. They lost to Stephen F. Austin by 3, and then they beat FIU, which FIU is a quality Conference USA team. So Western can take on Stephen F. Austin and win. That's a nice sign. And also blew out Southwest New Mexico. So
that would be University of the Southwest.
Oh yes,
it's not even Utah. It's just they just covered the whole Southwest.
Right. Well, okay. On their website it says Southwest and then parentheses NM. So I assume they're in New Mexico, but they're the University of the Southwest. So
Possibly.
I apologize. I hadn't done my
You're
Abilene Christian schedule research
you're a damn
for women's
skippy.
basketball. That's very qualified for me to have done that research. I apologize.
Well, I will say that game was a lot closer than the FIU score. So
That's true. Something that
90,
could be noted there.
95 to 38. So
Impressive work.
at what point did like the University of the Southwest is the Mustangs? So um,
Yeah, they
but
have a
what
weird looking red horse
isn't that a
with
Mustang?
green eyes.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Now I'm
looking
gonna
at
have
the
to
logo.
Google this. Now I'm gonna have to Google this dude. But yeah, they
It's like an evil My Little Pony.
is it like the nemesis to the Murray State Racers?
Could be. Yeah, it's
That would be
for the
pretty funny, actually.
inspiration.
That'd be funny. That'd be pretty funny. I was looking for like the physical mascot, but they don't really have one, do they? They're not that big of a school, so they don't actually have a big one. They've got a logo, but they just don't have the other. But okay. So yeah, like I agree with you. I think the game for Western against Abilene Christian, I think they are a good school for Western to kind of go against, especially when we get to see where we stand against a team like this, and they're not going to be they're going to be a good team. I think Abilene Christian is going to be a pretty decent team, and probably like we are in the WAC. I don't think we're going to dominate by any means, but I don't think we're going to be getting beat by a lot. I think we'll be kind of middle of the pack, and hopefully we can pull out a second or third place this year. I mean, that's at least my opinion in women's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I'd really like to see. Well, first of all, it's overdue. So overachieve and win. That's what I ideally would hope. Considering Coach Collins has been here a while, but a realistic hope would definitely be semifinals of the conference tournament or more. And being at least as good as those top four teams, which would be Middle, Liberty, FIU, and hopefully Western. So hopefully they're right there with everybody. And I mean, with the size, maybe they can pull together some offense and have a little something they haven't had. And honestly, I don't know if people really know this, but this is probably the biggest Western team for the girls in 20 years. I mean, even Crystal Kelly's teams, I was looking, obviously Crystal Kelly was huge. I think she was 6'4", 6'5", and just utterly dominant and athletic and everything. But the team around her was not quite as big as this team is. I mean, they're really big. Everybody has some size except Alexis Mead, basically. So I'm interested to see how this, like basically Collins just went out and got a bunch of size and said, hope we win. Let's see what happens.
I think as long as the girls play well together, like, unlike they did last year at New Mexico State, I think if, they work well together and do well together, I think it's very promising for the way the season's going to turn out. And it's just a kind of a wait and see thing. I expect the girls to beat Mercer. I'll say that. I expect them to beat Mercer. And we can do the recap on it next week with it being this evening. It's kind of hard to talk about it, but yeah, and you're going to look goofy whichever way you say it, because you're just going to say one thing and then the episode comes out and everybody's like, well, look at here, we missed that prediction. That was ridiculous. Yeah, the game already happened and you just didn't even. Yeah, well, we have to. Matt's a prima donna. I've got to work around his schedule, so it's all good. So,
Devin, look, guys, Devin can't just fart out an episode, okay?
Yes, it takes a lot of time and effort and computer work and click. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't
Look,
got it.
Devin's so tired doing it already. It's really
Yeah.
exhausting.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
27 flavors. 37?
23.
Huh? Oh, whatever that crap is. I don't know. Don't you know?
23
Whatever.
flavors of caffeine.
Whatever.
Sorry, my
I
Mormon
don't freaking
friends.
drink Dr. Pepper.
Sorry, Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints fans out there who are watching, because caffeine's a drug. So, but
Watch
anyway,
out.
sorry. But anyway,
All of
so
Utah is not going to watch now.
yeah, I just went click. You can't tell it, but yeah, Utah just clicked out. They were like, "Oh my God, we can't have our children watching somebody drinking Diet Dr.
Yeah,
Pepper." Proud sponsor of the
go-
podcast.
Go hug your wives and you'll be all right.
All right. So men's basketball. They play Campbellsville. As we record this tonight, they're going to be playing 8 p.m. on the 12th. So we will talk about it next time. But crazy Grand Canyon game, isn't it?
I mean,
They just threw up a prayer, really. I mean, it was just. Yes, it's a joke to them being a more religious school. Yes. Yes.
You gotta, it's mandatory. You have to say it. I mean, honestly, like, hopefully people see, because I've seen this crap on Facebook and Twitter and whatever, where people are like, 0-2, 0-3, including
Just turn it off. Turn the mess off.
Just
Watching this.
Lona needs to go. Run him out.
Wasting your
I
time.
heard Jake Homer's available. I mean, but seriously, like, Western's played 3 good teams. They played UAB, who's probably going to win the AAC. They played Wichita State, who could possibly win the AAC. And then you played Grand Canyon, who's probably the best of all of them, especially right now. And it was on the road in a crazy environment.
In the Grand Canyon.
Right. Yeah, inside the Colorado River. You were expected to lose by double digits, and they improved so much that they almost won. And
So I know I jokingly said that the game was in the Grand Canyon, but how cool would that shit be if the game, like, they fix the court across the canyon and y'all like have to play and like the ball goes out of bounds into the canyon? It's like, shit, get a new ball. All right, sorry.
Or somebody like dives off the court.
And he's like gone.
Yeah, that would hopefully it was them that did that. Anyway,
Trainer. Well, no, never mind.
Yeah, dude, hey, job security for the trainers, right? That's,
there you go. Yeah.
That's the dream.
Get a net. Anyway.
But I mean, like, the whole game was nip and tuck. I don't think there was a single double-digit lead, period. What's frustrating, of course, obviously we should cover that Western was up 9 at one point, and it was pretty late. They made a quick run. They were tied, and then they went on a 9-0 run, and they allowed them to get back within a couple of possessions, and then it stayed there. I think my biggest gripe, and I think the biggest frustration for Western fans is, you're 3, 4, 5 minutes left and you're up 2 possessions. Why are we just dribbling the ball out and waiting until 10, 12 seconds left on the clock before somebody moves? Like,
yeah,
I understand if you do that 1 possession, maybe 2, because you're trying to catch your breath, you're tired, whatever, but you don't do it every possession where you don't do anything, and then you a couple times didn't even get a shot up. But a couple other times it's just McHenry left, McHenry right. It's like Bobby Rainey left, Bobby right, that everybody used to complain about.
Yeah.
3 yards in a cloud of dust offense. Like, everybody says prevents the win. Well, prevent offense kind of prevents the win in basketball in some ways. Like, you just totally took the air out. And like, I kind of understand that you want to, one thing that I think people should consider, I guess, is that when you have a fast-paced offense, and then it makes sense strategically to slow down the game a little bit it's hard for them to slow it down a little bit because they're just so used to killing themselves all game.
Yeah.
So the style doesn't play to be able to finish a game off. If you're not blowing them out, you could have difficulty in a close game that the pace slows down. So like in a tournament setting or something like that, or just a tight game with two good teams or whatever. But you can't just stop and do nothing and then throw up the ball with a couple seconds left on the shot clock. So that was kind of frustrating. Overall, they improved greatly. Their defense was way, way better than that mess that they put out in the first couple games. So,
Yeah. It sounds to me like what happens with Western football sometimes is when they try to slow it down. And kind of like you said, like, they wait till 10 seconds and then they try to do something. And then you're pushing it. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating because, like you said, I mean, literally, it's 2 layups and it's a different game right there. It's right at the end.
yeah,
6 seconds to go, and they got a layup that put them up 74-72.
it's
And
one
then
thing. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, and then you don't have 10 seconds to wait, so you're just out of time. So what do you do? Just go.
I mean, it reminds me of the kid in rec league when you just get trapped in the corner and the kid just freaks out and throws the ball over his shoulders and hopes something happens.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was like. I mean, it's like you run your offense, run a 3-man weave or whatever, but like have some movement and have 2 guys stand in the corner and get their rest on the possession. But you got to do something and then, and get a decent look. Like, get a decent look every possession. I'm not going to be as frustrated. But when you just chuck up garbage from just inside the 3-point line, contested, what's the point of the possession? You're not helping yourself by burning clock if you have terrible possessions. Like, you still need to position yourself and get some points. At the end of the day, the points are more important than the clock. So if you can't slow down the game, then keep playing your game and wear them out even more. And maybe you'll go on a longer run or, you might blow it or whatever. But if that's the result that you just stop and do nothing, then I'm not okay with it. Play your game.
Well, yeah, I'm just going to tell you fans now, you get ready. Jake Homer's not here. It's going to be a rough season. All right, boys. All right.
I think fluff, it could be the secret sauce of this team.
It could be. Yeah, I mean, McHenry left and right's not going to work. So what happens if they try to do McHenry center? I'm just saying. That's a new player right there. Just try that. But no, I mean, it's too early to tell. That's the truth of it. I mean, it was a very close game that came down to the wire, and it's frustrating, yes, but you're going to have Campbellsville, and if you don't score 100 points on Campbellsville, I don't think it's a good night. No offense to Campbellsville. Y'all coming down here to get your butt kicked. That's all that's happening. I'm sorry. You're going to drive an hour down the road to get your butt kicked and go home.
I mean,
go ahead.
This version of Western feels like a team that should blow out a team like Campbellsville because they're having times, to be fair and honest, like where you bring in a D2 team or NAIA or whatever, and they hang around and you win by 12, or I think a few times we won by, I think one year we went to overtime with somebody. But anyway, like hopefully this team is on a mission and just ready to go. And I don't think there's going to be as much of an effort issue with this team as there would be in some other years. So I would be shocked if Western just lays an egg and wins by 4 or something against Campbellsville. I think it'll, hopefully what we see when we come back to the show next week or whatever is, but easy blowout win.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I mean, this schedule's not an easy schedule. I mean, just skimming down through here, but pre-conference schedule, we got Kentucky, which, by the way, everybody's been wanting it, and now we got them. And then not only that, we've got Marshall, old rival there. That's going to be a nice, tough game.
Well,
And Michigan.
Lipscomb is actually a team that has I was listening to 104.5 this morning, and kind of sort of knew this already. They have one of their best teams they've ever had since being Division One.
Wow.
So they're coming to Bowling Green, thank God. But very dangerous team that we're going to need a good performance. And then playing at Evansville, that's never historically been easy for Western, even though Western's probably been the better team 3/4 of the time. It's tough to play in Evansville for whatever reason. Murray and also Seattle was a top 100 team last year. So Western's schedule is kind of a sneaky gauntlet. Like you look at a few of them, UK, Michigan, whatever, those are tough. Wichita State, UAB, whatever. There's some big names on there anyway. But even these little, quote unquote, little schools, most of them are not pushovers. Like it should be a battle in each one of these games.
Well, I mean, even the smaller schools like Murray and Kentucky Wesleyan, I don't expect them to be, they're not going to be a Lipscomb by any means, but it is another opportunity to get out there and polish your craft, get your plays and get your shots and everything. Just make sure everything is, 100%. So when you hit conference, you're firing on all cylinders.
I love the confidence against Murray, but Murray is another legitimate, threatening program. I don't know how good they'll be this year. I haven't researched or anything, but I mean, they just played Pitt and lost by 5. So, and then they did what they were supposed to against Bethel College of Tennessee or whatever. But yeah, I mean, hold on, they lost by 15 to Pitt. Excuse me, but still, that's another
15.
decent opponent that you're going to have to, make sure you take care of business against, and it will not be.
It is a tough. It's a tough pre-conference schedule, I should say.
And it's a rivalry game. You never know what happens against a rival.
No, and honestly, if somebody in the student section does not buy the racehorse outfit, what are we doing with our lives? I'm just saying.
To be arranged.
I was going to say that we need to make that happen and just show up in the outfit, because that'd be the hilarious thing ever. Is just walk around on their side and just see, how many of them are like, yeah, racers. But anyway, this is a tough regular season. So honestly, I'd tell people to strap in, not strap on. strap in, because it's going to be a tough one. It's going to definitely be a tough regular season to start off. It's going to be tough. None of these are really
detractors, man. Our detractors are going to have some material after this one. Quote unquote, strap on the RedOUT Podcast.
Pucker up, Buttercup. It's something to. But no, this is not a season to. And then of course you get into your season, and we've got all the regular tough opponents that we're going to have to face. So we will talk more about Lipscomb and Jackson State next week. Lipscomb is going to be was that Saturday? The 17th Saturday? Or is it Sunday? It's Sunday. Okay. That game is going to be a Sunday at 3 p.m. At Diddle. So that's a nice Sunday afternoon game. So you can go support the Tops there. And then Jackson State is next Wednesday, of course, at 8 p.m. So we'll try and either do that episode a little earlier in the week, or we'll figure something out and talk about it. But I think it's going to be interesting. And then, of course, on the 26th, the week right before the 2 days before Thanksgiving, we're going to get Kentucky on ESPNU. So that'll be interesting, really interesting. Month of November here for basketball. Dude. Okay, so I'm probably partially screwed up today because I had to go to a house of an individual who had passed away, and he was friends with Willie Nelson, if you get my drift. And I walked in, and it just went poof right in my face, and I was like, "Wow!" And I've had a semi-headache. I had a headache for about an hour after I left the house. That's how stout it was. I was like, "Good God, man!" I was like,
You're
"I don't
just
know why."
toasted, and that explains everything.
I just need to go get some chips, right, bro?
Man,
Wow, look at those clouds, bro. Like you're inside, man.
I was looking at the shadows behind your head when the fan blows.
But yeah, so that's probably wondering. I'll blame that on why I'm screwed up today, I guess. So football wise,
Yeah, that.
the football gods have kind of lined up for us in a way to allow us to, we need to do well each week. Don't get me wrong. We've got Louisiana Tech this week, Liberty, and then we play Jackson State on the 30th to end the regular season. But Liberty has gone from first to fourth in conference standings, or maybe tied for third. I can't tell if they've played Sam Houston yet or not. But we were talking earlier.
The top four teams play each other the last 2 weeks. So
yes,
Western plays Liberty, and Jack State plays Sam Houston, and then Sam Houston plays Liberty, and Western plays Jack State. It's almost like a semifinals. It's kind of cool.
It really is. And that's wasn't obviously decided beforehand, but
yeah, it's worked out that way, and it should be an awesome last 2 weeks.
But we do have La Tech this week. We will be playing them on Saturday. La Tech is a team that I've always felt like could be a rival. I think they could very easily be our rival, and it's
I definitely don't like them.
Yeah, they're not likable at all. I mean, they're friendly Louisiana people, but I don't know what it is. I just don't like them, especially when they stump the crap out of us. But
yeah, we've had some closer than they should be battles. I think Western had was it 35-0 lead last year, or 28-0? Ended up winning by a touchdown.
I think it was 28, and we ended up scoring like a last fourth quarter touchdown to keep us keep it away.
Mm-hmm.
But La Tech, and I think you were kind of hinting on this for an article idea, was that their defense is like one of the top ones in the league. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with that statement?
Well, since I was the one that put that idea out there for our article, yeah.
You do? Okay. Well, I didn't know if you were doing it as a facetious thing or
no,
you were like,
it's not facetious. No, here's the thing. Like, somebody's going to look at La Tech and say, oh, well, they're 3-6. They're 2-4 in the league. They're garbage. Every single one of their losses has been against
close.
Yeah, it's been within a touchdown, and 2 of them went to overtime. So one thing is they give up 23 points a game, but with 2 overtime periods, that number is kind of inflated too. So they have a decent to good defense. Especially for Conference USA. You may look at the numbers and not notice that, but they seriously, if they could have had any offense at all against Sam Houston, they would have won. They lost 9-3, which was ridiculous.
That's a crazy score.
It was the most entertaining 9-3 game you'll ever see. There were a bunch of turnovers and all that, but it was like, no one could score the freaking ball. Couldn't do anything. But La Tech is a legitimate opponent. If they have 4, single possession losses, especially in conference, a couple of plays here and there in each game, and they could be undefeated facing WKU. I'm not saying they would be or should be, but a couple of those games bounce another way, and they're a contender for the conference title. So I'm hoping that we see that. I think the team does, because I heard someone that works with the team kind of commenting about how La Tech is one of the better teams defensively in the league. So I think they respect them and they're prepared for a battle. But I would caution anybody that just looks at La Tech and says, "Oh, blowout." I don't know
Yeah.
what they will be.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's a good gauge. When we played, let me back up. La Tech played MTSU and beat them 48-21. All right, here you go. Western played MTSU. Week 3, we beat them 49-21. Yeah.
Mhm.
I have this stupid alarm clock that somebody gave me, and I cannot figure out how to quit the stupid alarm. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some comparable elements to how this game could play out. The MTSU scores one. Definitely their defense. I mean, they average giving up 312 yards a game. That's a top 25 level yardage defense in college football. They allow less than 200 yards passing. Okay, that's concerning. What if they do that against WKU?
Exactly.
They can on offense they can pass the ball 250 yards a game. That's concerning. What if they do that against WKU? So there's some stuff here that I would be hesitant about just picking Western to win by 1,000 because it could easily be a tough game. You know, everybody jokes about Sonny Cumbie, the coach for La Tech, which is a hilarious name. But anyway,
yeah, I always think that about Lipscomb too. I'm like, how did they come up with a name for that place? But anyway, yeah, I mean, you do want to talk about like scoring and stuff. They are giving Western 14 for that game, which is, I think that's a decent number. On truth be told, that's a 21-7 score. That's not bad.
What's the over under? I'm curious. I hadn't looked at any of that.
53.5. So they're expecting us to score 35 21-ish. Well, that'd be less than that actually, but that would be an over.
Total of 54.
Actually the over is -105. Under is
56.
-115. So they're expecting that score to be over anyway. Money line obviously favoring La Tech. Plus 425. Western is a -650. So definitely not a game to bet straight out money line for Western. I think it's going to be out. It's a tough game to decide how you want to look at it because, like you said, it could go one of two ways. It could be Western blows them out of the water and has an amazing game.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be a drudge fest and we win 12-9 and it was a last second field goal that wins it. It'd be like, I mean, and that's the thing is you just don't know going into this. I know last week we had with football, we had a couple turnovers, a couple interceptions, and it was really frustrating to watch even though we won 41-28. It was just really frustrating to watch that, but I mean, Western dominated the whole time, which is great. I mean, we went in at half 24-7. So, New Mexico State actually had a really good run in the second half there with outscoring us 21-17. So,
and they cut it to 3. So it definitely was in doubt, even though Western was clearly the better team.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like once you get that scoreboard pressure, it doesn't matter if the yards are 300 to 100. All they need is one score. And, you look at the stats and you're like, how in God's name did the other team win? And it's just, they took advantage of the big moments. So you got to be careful. And that's where those turnovers can really make the difference in making something a little closer. So, I mean, I certainly would look, if La Tech can slow down Western and get some turnovers, that's big time trouble for Western.
Yeah.
If Veltkamp goes for 350 yards and Elijah Young has 150, like obviously Western won that game. La Tech's going to have trouble keeping up. But if it's a low scoring game, you don't need much to overcome offensively or, pick six or whatever. And all of a sudden you're ahead in the game or you're right back in it or whatever. So we got to watch out for sure.
Do you know, as far as like weapons that La Tech has, which weapons would you worry most about coming into this week?
You quizzing me on the spot because it's still early in the week, so I haven't looked at everything. It looks like their running game is more by committee.
Okay.
But they average 100 or so that's possibly an opportunity for the Tops to kind of shut down the run and force them to pass. They could also take it as, why don't we focus on the pass this week and let them run. If they beat us on the ground, that's just not what they're good at.
Okay.
We'll see how they approach it. Sometimes I think Summers' philosophy is which portion of the game can I shut down the most, and then force them to be able to do the other, like let them have the other. And my offense is good enough that I don't have to be perfect. I just need to make them one dimensional, and it's just really hard. And that's what they've done every single game, even the middle game where they gave up 500 yards. They made it difficult for Middle to be able to run the ball, and that's why Middle was not able to finish drives and only scored 21 despite 500 something yards. So I think strategically it'll be interesting to see how he plays it. Receiving wise, they have a guy named True Edwards, kind of cool name. 6 touchdowns, averages about 80 yards a game, played every game. Looks like they haven't had tons of injuries on their receivers, that everybody's played most of their games. And they have 6 guys that average at least 20 yards a game. So I'd say they have some weapons. All 6 of those guys have at least 1 touchdown. So they can really spread it around, but they have one guy that I guess stands out, which is True Edwards.
Yeah, I mean that's great. That they do have at least a healthy receiving core to help them out on that end. And hopefully Western's DBs will be able to cover and be able to support, the defense and keep at least fight the long ball there. Let's see. Just looking at some comparisons here. They don't look like they're a very heavy they don't look to be heavy pass, and they don't look to be a heavy run, so to speak. Because I would say Western is more heavy pass, or at least 60-40 pass. And they are about 30 attempts less than Western. And I don't know, this Bullock kid, he could be kind of be like Veltkamp and didn't get a couple starts there at the beginning. But they've got 185 attempts where we've got 213 for Veltkamp. 1,452 yards, 1950. 12 TDs for them, 19 TDs for Veltkamp. But he does have safer passes, or he's a little more cautious on his passes because he's only got 2. Yeah.
6-1 touchdowns to interceptions. That catches my eye as like, okay, this kid may not be super flashy.
Yeah.
But he takes care of the football, and he's completing 66.5% of his passes. That's a solid job.
Yeah, that's really good. That's not taken away from Veltkamp by any means, but he's still learning. But we've got Elijah Young. He's got 563 total yards. Sorry. 133 carries, 563 yards. Okay, so ESPN screwing me up. That's why I was kind of stumbling there. All our dudes look like they're in green shirts. And like when I looked at it at first, I was like, oh wait, that's not ours. And I was like, yeah, Elijah Young's our dude. So I was like looking at him, and I'm like, he's got a green shirt on. Where did it come? Where did this? Oh, okay. It's not green. It's black. It's the blackout uniforms. My old computer here makes it look green, or I'm old. I don't know. One or the other. I haven't decided yet. But ESPN's interns are giving us 81% chance to win this game. I don't think you take advantage of. I don't think you underestimate them. And the game is going to be at noon on CBS Sports Network, so definitely check it out. And it's supposed to be, fairly relatively warm for later November, fall, 58 degrees. So definitely check this game out. If you're in the area, go. If you're not, watch on the CBS Sports app, Sports Network.
Do you want me to update you on who wins Homecoming Queen?
Please do. I would love to know. I am.
I was always consumed with that.
Stacia, I'm really pulling for Stacia this year. She really deserves it. But Kendra has been working hard in the off season to get it, and we'll just have to see who does better. Who goes out there and gets those votes? Some girls are just out there in it to win it, and some girls just don't put up with the effort. So there's that.
Maybe never mind. Not gonna say that.
Yeah. I knew where he was going.
Yep.
So I remember I don't know if you did this when you were a kid or not, but like middle school-ish, high school-ish, we would sometimes go to the homecoming parade at Western.
Mm.
Like as an adult, like I say adult, when I was going to college there, I never went to that crap. I was like, I see them dudes all the time. I'm not going to the homecoming stuff. But I remember as a younger person, we'd go watch the parade, and it was like I when I get in middle school, I was like, what is the point of this crap? But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being cynical in my middle school age, but I think Westerns. I think they got some good chances. I would honestly say, if I had to put money on it right now, I would bet that Western has out of the 4 possible teams, I'd say we have a 43% chance of winning Conference USA straight up this year.
That's just a random number for you?
Nope, I Rain Man'd that shit. Just was like,
right.
I mean, that's just my thought. Because, like you said, which, funnily enough, I've got our Louisiana Tech's schedule pulled up. The second to last game, they play Arkansas. Like that's a random game for me. I just feel like, and then they got Kennesaw State's their last game. But, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for Western. And the crazy thing for Western is like I said, 43%, because I'm thinking to myself, there's 4 teams that have to play each other. Western has the tiebreaker. Our Westerns beat Sam Houston. So if Sam Houston goes out and they take care of business, we've got to beat Jack State at the end of the year. We got to beat Liberty for sure. And those two, if we take out, at least beat one of them, then let's say Sam Houston beats Liberty and we lose to Liberty. We've got the tiebreaker on Sam Houston. We beat Jack State, then, we're still number 1. We would probably end up playing Sam Houston or Jack State in that possible scenario, depending on how they fell. I mean, it's one of these crazy things where the top 4 have basically, they just tossed them up in the air. And we're just going to have to see how the pieces fall closer, after next week, after the 23rd, when we play Liberty. It's going to be interesting to see how everything is falling into place. And we are playing Liberty at Liberty.
Yeah.
Me
and Dad will be there, by the way. Did I tell you that?
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm excited to go over there.
Watch your drinks. So
you think they sell beer in the stadium?
I hope they got covers for them. But anyway,
WWJD.
Hey, I hear you, man.
Do
you know the stadium's called the Liberty Bibbity Stadium?
Really?
No,
I had no idea.
Stadium. Okay. Go ahead.
I think it's like this. I do want to paint the picture a little bit about kind of the scenarios here. So, like as far as who could make the conference championship game. So obviously Western and Jacksonville State are undefeated in Conference USA. And then you have Sam Houston, who has one loss that was from Western, and then Liberty has actually lost to both Jacksonville State, and then they lost to Kennesaw State. So they have this random loss in there. Otherwise, it'd be a much tighter, really confusing scenario. But Liberty's really on the back foot. However,
Yeah.
they play Western and Jacksonville State, so they definitely have the ability, Western and Sam Houston, they have the ability to nearly put themselves in the championship game still. They need someone to lose another game or two, but they're in it. I think the key for Western is take care of this week, and you're in amazing shape no matter what, because Liberty and Sam Houston play each other, right? So
Yeah.
if Sam Houston loses, then they have 2 losses and you have 2 games to play. If Liberty loses, they're out. Like they cannot catch you. So if you win this game, you guarantee that it's a 3-horse race. One way or another, Liberty or Sam Houston will not be a factor to you in the last week. So really important this week to take care of business. And then maybe the tops get thrown a bone, somebody loses. Jacksonville State nearly lost this last week to guess who? La Tech. In overtime, La Tech had that thing won. I mean, it was over like 99.8% on ESPN. Like it was, I mean, they threw a Hail Mary and Jacksonville State got the touchdown and then missed the extra point and went to overtime, which is insane. But that game was freaking over. And Jacksonville State found the win. If somebody can find a way to lose a game here, it really would help straighten things out and make things a lot easier. Hopefully it's not Western. Because it really would open up some doors if one of these 4 teams loses before the last 2 weeks of the season. Otherwise, it's going to be a tight, absolute bloodfest battle to figure out who represents Conference USA. But we take care of business this week. We're in extremely good shape.
Well, something else to mention too, Jacksonville State, I just pulled up their schedule. They've kind of got a schedule similar to us right now. They've got FIU, which is literally one step above La Tech on the schedule rankings. Yeah. And then on the 23rd, they've got Sam Houston, and then they play us on the 30th. But that is literally like the other side of the coin, so to speak. So it's really an interesting take that, basically by the 23rd or by the 24th, technically, we're going to know which way this schedule is going to go, so to speak. We're going to know who's on top, who we have to watch out for. The ideal situation is if Sam Houston beats, if they beat Jacksonville, and we at least, and we win out till Jacksonville. If they beat Jacksonville, we beat Jacksonville, we're on top. Then we're going to be at least 2 games ahead. If you're doing like baseball or basketball, we'd be 2 games ahead. But you just have to take care of business. We take care of business. We win the regular season, and then we should. Yeah, and then we should be playing. And then we should be playing what? Jacksonville State, ideally. Depending on in the championship. It's either them or Sam Houston.
Yeah,
depending on how things play out.
I think Liberty needs miracles, and they need to play better than they played this year, or they're not going to make it anyway. But you kind of, you always give them a chance because they did it last year. They still have the quarterback. They still have the running back.
Yeah.
And they have some other pieces that are back, but they're way on the back foot. It's really a 3-team race, and then Liberty needs to be thrown a miracle to be able to have a chance, and they have to execute. So it's kind of a 3-horse race, but the tops need to kind of put themselves in position to finish the thing and for sure find one of the two spots in the championship. It would be a huge meltdown to not get that at least. And, hopefully get the top seed, host at home, kick whoever's butt you need to, and let's go get this freaking ring. I'm tired of sitting around and wondering when it's going to happen. This is the year, man. This is the
That's
year.
right.
It's got to freaking happen. I mean, there's too many good things about this team. Every phase is really good. We can run and pass. You have a star in the making in Veltkamp. You have good players on the defense. The defense is I think the best it's been since Taggart. I mean, what is there not to like about?
Yeah.
Or you have freaking the field goal kicker can kick from 60 if we need him to. He's missed one kick, maybe one or two kicks all year without looking at the stats. I mean, we've got what we need to be able to get this done. So
Yeah.
It's time to make it happen.
I agree 100%. If it does happen, I would not be surprised if Helton doesn't get a call. I honestly was surprised last year he didn't get a call. I think he was supposed to. Whether they want to admit it or not.
He got calls a few years ago. I think last year he didn't as much.
Was it? I think it would, but wasn't it him that they were tapping for some
Purdue?
Yeah, and that was from what I understood. I understand that was a really big deal. Was Purdue was really going after him, and then I think Purdue balked on that, didn't they? Purdue balked on that, and they screwed it up, and honestly, he should have been gone. But luckily, we still have him this year, and we can still enjoy being top dog in Conference USA for now. So,
man, let's finish this thing.
I know, right? Yep, I agree. So, like Matt was talking about, we're going to be playing Abilene Christian 11:21. I'll post the times and stuff on the scroll here, so you'll be able to see that. ESPN Plus that game will be on. On the 17th, we got Lipscomb, Jackson State on the 20th for men's basketball. Campbellsville is going to be on the 12th. We'll talk about that next week. And then Mercer from women's, we'll talk about that next week as well. And then football-wise, we got La Tech this week, on the 16th, and on the 23rd, we're going to be playing Liberty, so next Saturday, 12 p.m. this week on CBS Sports Network. And actually, I tell you what, I'm going to post the scores on the episode here, so we don't seem like complete goofballs for basketball anyway. So I appreciate you all supporting us, watching the video. If you'd like, you can go on patreon.com/RedOut and support us there. You can go to our affiliate link, which is aura.com/RedOut. And, always trust your VPN because it's crazy stuff out there. I actually got a hit on my Google account the other day. Somebody stole my Google password, so I had to go change it. So I got some crazy password now just so somebody doesn't have to get into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Damn it, I shouldn't have said that on the internet. Anyway, but definitely you want to have a VPN is what I'm trying to say. But yes, check back. We're going to have some articles coming out in Towel Rack, from the Towel Rack, and they'll be posting those. And just keep checking back with us, guys. We'll keep posting episodes as best we can. And as always, guys, go Tops.
Tops.
Go Tops.